Hey everybody, what's going on? How's it going? Let's see here. All right. So we are going over inbound lead domination strategy. And you can get a copy of this. Here, let me grab the link. One second. Grab this link and I will put it right here so everybody can get it. Perfect. So that link will take you to our little chat bot that's going to give you the PDF for inbound lead domination, which includes the script as well as the best practices. Oops. I'll have to adjust that. Anyways, so here we are. What are we talking about? We're talking about inbound leads. These are leads that have come in from phone calls. Well, not so much phone calls. It's mainly online leads, or people have filled out a form. They filled out something on your website, and now you have to get in touch with them. So the first thing we are going to do is make that first call. Okay? We're going to make the first call right away, ideally under 5 minutes. You know, I know this has been tested and criticized by a lot of different people. It's going to depend on your market, but if you are in a competitive market, you're going to want to make sure that call is within 5 minutes. Okay, so first call, and then we're going to go to text. We want to make sure we text them, and then we want to email them, put them on the drip, call them a second time, and a third time that same day. So only about 20 to 35% of the calls are going to answer on that first call. The majority of them will be picked up somewhere between the 6th and the 9th call. So between day 2 and 3. I've spread this out a little bit. There are more aggressive plans where you can do 5 calls a day for 3 days, 10 days, whatever you want to do. It really depends on the systems that you have and what you can commit to. Because when you're doing something with lead gen and testing these conversions, you do want to make sure that you are at least staying consistent, because you can't test your strategy if your strategy is not always the same. So you need to do one strategy. I'm giving you a strategy right here. So take this, do this, test it in your market and see what it does. If you're still not getting in touch with people, maybe you need to call them more the first day. Maybe you need more texts. Maybe you need fewer emails. You're going to have to test and figure out what's the optimum number of contact points or points of touches on a client that you need to be doing. So, like I said, day 1 call, text, email, 2 call, 3 call. So 3 calls total. Okay. Day 2 is again 3 calls total with a text and an email. Day 3, very similar. Day 4, we're going to slow it down, okay? We're going to make call number 10 and 11, and we're going to email them. Day 5, we do call 12 and 13. We add the text back in. Now, day 6 through 9, we go just to the emails, okay? And we're going to make one final attempt on the 10th day. After that, you can add them to a buyer pool or a long-term drip, but they're no longer your hot lead focus, okay? You don't want to be focused on your leads that are not picking up the phone, that are not responding, that are not providing you with any sort of value when you've got new leads coming in. Some of my clients are getting hundreds of leads each week. So you can't afford to be focused on turning the entire group of leads that you're getting into buyers or transactions. There's a saying, we're only looking for a few nuggets. We're not trying to turn the river to gold. And that completely applies here. So this is the email, text, and calling plan. Now, what do we do when we get them on the phone? Well, thankfully, we've got a script for that. So, hi, my name's Matt. How are you? Why are we asking them how they are? Well, we want to build rapport right off the bat. Okay? We don't want them hanging up right away. So if they can answer us, now we're in a conversation. They've committed, even though it's very, very minor, they've committed to a conversation with us in some sense. So this is Matt, with the real estate company, responding to your inquiry on 123 Main Street. Now, here's my favorite part, is we're going to do a trial close. I love trial closes. A trial close is testing to see, are they ready to go or are they a little ways out? Okay? So we're doing that trial close, and it looks like this. Well, it looks like you want to go take a look at that home. When would be a good time for you? That's all it is. We're just trial closing them. Okay? So seeing if they're going to respond, seeing if they're going to, shiver at that, if they're going to be like, no, we're not ready. But they'll give you some kind of an indication where they are in the process at that point. So if no, we're just, I completely understand. This home seems to be very popular today. It's located over in Ann Arbor. Is that the primary area you're looking in? So we're trying to establish that location. Where are they looking for a home? So they say, yeah, Ann Arbor and, I don't know, what's near Ann Arbor? I don't know, Ann Arbor and surrounding areas. So, okay, so Ann Arbor and surrounding areas, great. Always repeat and affirm. Always repeat and affirm. So what brings you to Ann Arbor and the surrounding areas? We want to find out a little bit about why they're moving, because that's going to hint at their motivation, which is a later question. So we want to find that out. We're downsizing because we're empty nesters. Oh, okay, you're downsizing. I completely understand. Awesome. Well, it looks like this home is going for, $250,000. Is that the price range you wanted to be in? All we're asking is is that the price you want to be in or not? Because they may have clicked on the property and they don't know what the price is. So if they don't know what the price is, we've got to give it to them. But at the same time, we're asking it in a question so that if that's too much or too little, I guess, we can continue to move them on to the next step. Now, if we just say, this one's listed at $250 and wait, they might just look at it, or they might just say, that's too much. Thanks a lot, and hang up. But if we say, it looks like this home is in the 250 or is going for about 250,000. Is that the price range you want to be in? We're continuing on with a question. So, no, we want to be under 225. Okay, so you want to be somewhere between probably 175 and 225. Is that about right? Yes. Okay, great. So what has you looking to make a move? Now we're establishing motivation. Motivation is the biggest key to setting any appointment, because we want to find out, okay, what has you actually looking at moving? Because moving is not an easy task, right? And if we know that, we can bring it back up later when they are telling us, they want to hold off or something like that. So we find out their motivation so that we can bring it up later and so that we can help them get to their motivation. Okay? So what has you looking to make a move? Well, we're downsizing, we're empty nesters, and honestly, there's just too many stairs in this house. We need a single story home because the stairs are too tough on our knees, whatever. I've actually run into that a lot. So great. We have a pain point for them. We can help them find the next property. So let's see, where are we at? What has you looking to make a move? So ideally, how soon would you like to be in Ann Arbor? Now we're establishing the time frame. Okay, because they just told us, my house hurts. It literally hurts because there's too many stairs. Okay, so ideally, how soon would you like to be in your new home? Now, if they say, in the next 2-3 years, they're probably not that serious, right? However, what we're looking for is that 3 to 6 month time frame. And if they give us a little bit more than that, then we're going to check it. We're going to say, they say, sometime in the next year. Okay, great. And if we found you the perfect home in the meantime, is that something you want to move forward with? See, we're checking to see, is this a qualified buyer? So we want to find out their motivation, the location, the price, where they're going to. And then we're going to ask, are you currently working with any other agents? Now, this question is so easy to blow because so many people are going to say, yeah, we've been working with this one agent, blah, blah, blah. They may not actually have a signed buyer agency agreement. Okay? So they may be working with an agent who doesn't know what they're doing, not sending them the right listings, not helping them get where they need to go. And it's our job to educate them to make sure that they are going to accomplish their goals. So are you working with another agent? Yes. Okay, great. Have you signed anything obligating yourself to that agent? No. Perfect. Because if they have, technically, in most cities or states, you're going to have to let them go. Thanks, David. So you're going to have to let them go at that point. Let's say they said no, though. We're going to keep going. Are you currently renting or do you have a home to sell? Why do we ask that question? So many people forget that question. But we need to ask that question because we got to find out, do they have a home to sell? When I first started, do you know how many times I would get a lead and they're looking to buy a home and I'm working with them, and next thing I know, we're out at a showing and they're like, yeah, we just listed our house. And I'm like, oh, fantastic. Because not only did I miss out on the ability to sell their home, but now my helping them purchase their new home, my transaction, is hindered by the other agent's ability to do their job. And if I write a contingent offer, that other agent's going to say, yeah, where are you guys at in the process? And I have no control over it. Well, they just got, an offer accepted. Well, does it look like a good offer? I don't know. I'm going to quiz that other agent to find out as much as I can. But the problem is I have no control. So you want to find out, are you renting or do you have a home to sell? Not just so you can sell their home, but so you can make sure if they have a home to sell, it doesn't get listed by somebody who's not going to know what they're doing. And then you end up with a buyer finding a perfect home that they want to move into. And guess what? They can't move into it because their home hasn't sold yet. Because some agent went in there and they priced it wrong and they're sitting on the market. Which just shouldn't happen. Not in today's market. I don't know where you're at, but if you're anywhere in the US, chances are you've got a great market right now. So let's say they're renting. Now, with renting, I want to find out, is this a long-term lease or is this a month-to-month? Because if it's a month-to-month, great, we can get out of it. If it's long-term, like, yeah, we just signed our new lease. Okay, and that's up next April. Okay, are you going to be able to move in the meantime? That's the next question. Great. If we found you the right home, are you able to break the lease? Let's find that out. Let's establish whether or not this person can purchase in the next year. No, we can't break the lease. We'd have to pay $3,000. And we don't have that kind of extra money. If we do that, we can't afford the down payment. Okay. Well, guess what? I'm not showing them houses. Like I said, we're not turning the river to gold. We're not trying to turn the whole thing to gold. We're just trying to find a few nuggets here and there. If you're at an industry standard where you're converting 1.8% of your leads, you don't need to focus on the other 98. You should have them in a drip. You should be in touch with them, but they're not your focus. We're focused on finding those nuggets, okay? And hopefully it's better than 1.8%. So once we find that out, we're going to keep going. Are you planning on financing or paying cash? Doesn't really matter to me how they pay for it, but I want to know if they're financing, have they been pre-approved? Okay, so let's assume that they said that they're financing, which most people will be financing. Great. Have you spoken with a lender about the current rates and the closing costs on a home in this price range? Now, the reason that I say it that way is because I'm not saying, have you been pre-approved? Are you qualified to buy a home? Because that can come off as abrasive to some buyers. Some people will take it as, oh, you don't think I can afford this. But if we say, have you talked to a lender about the current rates and the closing costs on a home in this price range, it makes them wonder, okay, we never found out what the closing costs would be, or, we didn't really talk rates. We just chatted with the lender to see what it would take to get pre-approved or whatnot. But they're going to tell you most of that. At that point in time, they're going to tell you what's going on. Did they meet with a lender? What happened? Okay, excuse me. Let's say they haven't. Okay, at that point, we need to get them in touch with the lender. We need to get them in touch with the lender. If you'd like, I can have my lender reach out to you and give you that information when we get off the line. Or if you have a really proactive lender, and I suggest you find one if you don't, what you can do is say, if you have just a minute, I can get my lender on the line right now, and we can get that process started for you. That way, when we find a home that you love, we don't have to go back and try and get a pre-approval and then find out we missed the home because somebody else purchased it. Because that happens all the time. Especially when I was first starting, I would go out with anybody who wanted to see a house just because I needed the income, right? I didn't qualify my buyers. I went out with every buyer who called me. Every seller, there's no qualifying. So you want to find out, can this person purchase a home? So if you can get them on the phone with your lender right away, do it. If you have to have your lender call them, do it. Last resort, you can give them your lender's information. But then you're going to want to follow up with your lender, let them know that they should be calling, and to let you know if they do. Because if they don't call that lender and they want to go see houses, this weekend, my first question, okay, great. Have you guys spoken with a lender yet? And again, I want to make sure that when we find a house and they love it, that they're not going to lose it because it goes into a bidding war that night and the lender, didn't answer their phone. So those pre-approvals are usually good for like 90 days. So you only have to do it once. I mean, I think pre-approvals actually are good longer than that. It just depends on the lender. Exactly, David. Exactly. Most buyers are sellers. Well, probably not most. I think it's like 40% is the safe statistic. But still, you have a ton of buyers that are sellers. Some people say, well, we don't want buyer leads. We don't want buyer leads. Okay. So just get leads and then weed out which ones have sellers. Or which ones are sellers and buyers. Because if you go try and purchase seller leads, you're going to pay a whole lot more than if you just go get regular leads. Buyer and seller. People interested in listings. People interested in property information. And then at that point, go through and find the ones you want to work with. Guess what? If you're bringing in 100, 200, 500 leads a month, you don't have to work with everyone. You can choose who you want to work with. So once we find out, okay, they've been pre-approved, great. Now we're going to set the appointment. This is kind of specific to each agent. So I always met my buyers in the office. Or if they had a home to sell, I wanted to go see that house when I met with them, So I might say something along the lines of, great, well, I'd love to sit down with you, go over the buying process, how everything works, what you can expect throughout the process. Does today at 4 work or would 5 be better? Or tomorrow at 5 work or would 6 be better? Give them an option on that. When we close them, give them an option. And you can do that in the trial close as well. But give them an option because it causes them to think and to choose. It's not a specific, oh, we could get together type of thing. It gives them something specific that they can choose from. So if you're going to meet at their house, what I'm going to offer is, have you guys looked into what your home is currently worth in today's market? A lot of times they have an idea, but okay, and they'll tell you, oh, we know it's worth around 200. Okay, but you haven't had anybody come out there and give you an estimate? No. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to be in the area anyways. Why don't we do this? Why don't we sit down at your house? I'll bring all the information about the current buying process, what it looks like, what you're going to go through, what to expect, and what the costs are going to be. That way you're fully prepared when we go to look at homes. And in the meantime, I'll bring out an estimate on what your current home is worth. What is your address? Just keep moving. Assume the sale and just keep moving. So hopefully that helps you guys out with the scripting. Best practices for lead response management. I did include this in the PDF. This is from InsideSales.com. It's the Harvard Business Review. If you search Harvard Business Review lead response management, you should see the PDF of this itself, and it might be a little more clear. But they had some great information. The best days to make contact, the best times to make contact, response time. I mean, look at this. If your response time is less than 5 minutes on that lead, your likelihood of making contact drops off significantly. I think it says it drops off like 400%. Okay? So that's why that first call is so important. Making sure that we're getting in touch with them. Okay? And David, you're 100% right. If you don't want to work with buyers, find somebody who does. Find somebody who does want to work with buyers and get a referral fee. Heck, You could have them be your inside salesperson. Have them call the leads. And in exchange for getting all of the buyers, they hand you the sellers. Okay? And then they pay you a referral fee on the buyers. Now you've got somebody doing half the work for you. And you're making more money. So it allows you to do a lot more when you leverage things out like that. This one, persistence is key. Persistence is key. Let's see. Over 30% of the leads are never contacted at all. You'd be surprised. Big teams, small teams, solo agents, doesn't matter. You know, we all struggle with follow-up and lead response. What you have to remember is you're only going to get between 20 and 30% typically on that first call. Most of your responses, most of the time you're going to connect with a client, it's going to be somewhere between your 6th and your 9th call. Okay, so if you go back up and look here, you know, we make call number 9 by day 3. Then we go into call 13 by day 5. Our final call is on day 10. If you go through this entire process and you follow it, you are going to see a lot more conversions on your leads. Because you're reaching out, you're making the persistent attempts, you're doing what you need to close those leads or to get them into an appointment. And that's the goal. Okay, let's remember the goal with lead response is not to get a transaction on the phone. You're not trying to list their home on the phone. You're not trying to sell them home on the phone. You're trying to get an in-person appointment. So keep that in mind, because I see new agents do that all the time. You know, well, your home is in this area. It's probably worth this much. How soon did you want to get on the market? No, just set the appointment. Go out there, okay? Go out there, meet them, and then go from there. So again, the link for this document with the script is going to be in this video. Yep, it's pinned there so you can see that. David, did you give it a shot to try and grab that link yet? Are you still here? Also, if you guys are watching this, give me a comment, throw in something, #replay. Give it some hearts, give it some likes, all that good stuff. And if you have other questions, throw them in the comments, and I will come back through and answer these when I can. Awesome, David. Awesome. So, again, if you guys have questions, let me know. David, do you have any questions while you're on here with me? We're about to see what the delay time is. Nothing at the moment. All right. Cool. If anybody has questions, throw them in the comments. I will come back and get to these. Hope everybody has an awesome day and can convert more leads from this. If you have some success, be sure to share that, and I'll talk to you later.